Scopus, tapi nanti saya akan tanyakan ke profnya. Iya, sudah 55. Ditunggu sebentar nggih, Bapak Ibu. Sepertinya device-nya profnya lagi ada kendala. Nggih, Bapak Ibu, kalau mungkin mau menanyakan boleh di room chat, diketikkan seperti Bu Reski tadi, nanti saya bacakan. Atau mungkin kalau mau bertanya langsung, nanti juga kami persilahkan kepada profnya. Prof. Humus, can you hear me? Tadi yang menanyakan template Bu Sinten nggih? Saya lupa. Oh, nggih, Bu Rizka. Em, ada. Misal nggih yang tadi ini, kalau jurnal yang tadi itu kan jurnal Scopus nggih, yang Prof rekomendasikan untuk saya. Eh, di sini ada pilihan about the journal. Ini bisa diklik nanti di situ akan muncul juga panduan gitu ya. Kalau mau submit di sini s- topiknya harus berkaitan apa. Ini adalah contoh-contoh artikel yang terakhir dipublish. Nah, biasanya di sini itu kita punya template mana ya?
Hello,
Halo,
sorry that I am late. I
oke.
will
How to stop this ya?
I will go back to my
Oke, Prof.
screen.
Ya,
Okay, again, this is Scopus. So as I showed you, you can just choose title and put the name of the journal and search it. Then it gives you the details of the journal. For example, I searched the journal I recommended to win that. And here you see the site score. This is like an impact factor of the journal and highest percentile. The 78 percentile means this is the Q1 journal according to Scopus. Because from 75 to 100 are the Q1. So also the ranking of the journal, 334 among 1,500 journals. So it means it is in the first 25%. So it is the Q1 journal, that means.
Yeah.
And you can also make more broader search. For example, you can choose the subject area instead of the title, and you can choose any subject you like. So you see there are lots of different fields and subjects here. So we need to go to social sciences. The education is not like a independent subject here, but we need to go to social sciences and find education there. Here, under social sciences, you click education, and there are, of course, if you are in a different field, you can also click other subjects. And then I choose education under the social sciences, and you see more than almost 2,000 journals came, 2,000. And the top journal is in the first, the computers and education. It is 99%. So that's the first journal among 1,543 in education. And you can make some limitations here. For example, if you only want to see the first quartile journals, you can choose first quartile and apply it. Or if you only want to see the third quartile, that might be somewhere to start with because it is a little bit easier. Like, of course, the first quartile journals are the best journals. It is a little bit hard to publish there. The second quartile might be a little bit easier, but not that easy. Fourth quartile might be so low, so you may not want to publish in the fourth quartile. So third quartile might be somewhere to start with, more easier, and also not at the bottom. So for example, if you choose the third quartile and apply it, you only get the journals in the third quartile list. So you can, of course, still you have like 300 journals in the third quartile. Of course, then you need to look at each journal and their publications. And for example, engineering economists that will not be suitable to your article. You need to find, but European Journal of International Management might be suitable, but you need to go to the web page of the journal, look at the publications and the quality and the expectations, and and European Journal of Education Research. So there are lots of New Zealand Journal of Education Studies, but those are the quartile three. So more manageable, probably more manageable journals. But again, if you are in the special education, for example, British Journal of Special Education in quartile three, you may just want to try. But again, you need to check it because some British journals, for example, it depends on the journal. Some British journals, you see the name British, they are very, very British and UK based. They don't publish anything out of UK. But some British journals are really international. They have the name of British, but they publish articles from everywhere. So you need to just check and see. Yeah, you can can just, or if you want to try, start with the first quartile, then go lower, you can just choose it and see, but it's generally hard. I would I will try, like, based on it's not always the quartile, but it is also about the journal's content. And when you go to the journal web page, after field tries and the exploration, when you go to the journal web page, you will start to better make sense of the quality of the journal, if you want to publish there, how much chance you have with this journal. You will get some senses after some exploration. But I will start with quartile 2 and 3 and try to publish in one of them. Then after a few publications, you can then, after those experiences, you can try to claim up a little bit to the higher impact journals. Vinda, do you want to translate?
Ya, ya. Bapak Ibu, ini adalah Scopus source yang dimana dari sini, kalau tadi kan Google Scholar, kalau ini Scopus, kita itu bisa mencari jurnal yang kita tuju. Tadi yang pertama dari judulnya atau dari subjek area. Kalau yang di layar ini subjek area, kita pilih aja education. Maka akan muncul list jurnal yang di bidang pendidikan. Berikut juga yang kanannya itu adalah impact score-nya, termasuk rankingnya. Dia ada di prosentase berapa. Kalau yang 47 ini adalah di Q3 karena dia ada di range 26% sampai dengan 50. Namun untuk memilih Bapak Ibu juga bisa memilih mana sih yang menggunakan yang Q1, Q2 dengan menggunakan filter sebelah kiri, yang second quartile, third quartile ini bisa diklik, maka secara otomatis jurnal yang di-display itu adalah jurnal yang ada di range quartile 3, Q3 dan Q2 begitu. Nah, yeah, I think enough, Prof.
Okay. So I'm going back to my presentation. Before that, is there any questions related to Scopus quartiles and journals and etc.
Yeah.
before I go back to my slides?
Yeah. Prof, here one question from the participant in the chat box. She asks how to identify the predator journal, and then how is the tips and tricks to identify this is the predator or no, something like this. Because
Okay.
actually, to be honest, in Indonesia, we sometimes publish in predator journal.
Yes, I think that's a common thing in many places. And of course, sometimes you feel that you have to publish and you do everything to publish very quickly, then you go to the predator journals. But for example, I never paid for any publication so far. I have more than like 70 publications. One of the things for me, like, even it is not a predator journal, I don't think that we need to pay for publications. We are the scholars, we are like giving time and energy and like doing all the things, and we are also paying for the publication. That's not right. So I never pay for the publication. So if you don't pay, then you don't, like, the predator journals always ask you to payment, right? So, and all the journals I suggest, they don't ask any money. Like good journals with a good publishers, they don't ask money. They just you just go ahead and submit and review process. For example, the journal I suggested you, Vinda, never ask money. Only if you want to publish your article open access. So that's the additional choice, not you don't have to pay money for the publication. You can publish as a regular article there, but if you want to make it an open access, then you need to make an additional payment. So that's the choice. So if you have a choice of paying for open access, that means that journal is not predator at all, because it doesn't you don't have to pay for the publication. But if you have to pay for the publication, there is a high chance that the journal might be predator. And of course, if it is a predator journal, then it means it is very easy to publish there. You don't really get much feedback. You don't really get any rejection. Whatever you submit, some people even try, like now they are trying like very funny things. They just write very funny articles. They even ask ChatGPT to write articles for them, or they make it like a put very funny things in the article and submit to the sub journals, and journals accept them because they don't even read it. They don't even make a peer review process. They just want to get your money and they accept it. So if it is so easy to publish and if you have to pay money, that is a high chance that it might be predator. I'm not saying all the journals with fees are predators. So some of the journals they ask fees, but they have also very good pre-review, selection, and publication process. But to me, first, at least at the first, try journals who doesn't ask you to pay money. And there are lots of journals. Some people even think that there are no journals without fee. But there are lots of journals. As I said, I never paid so far for the publications, and I have more than 70 internations, not publications. Recently, I only pay with several journals to make my article open access. The article is already accepted and already published, but I just, because I had some money support from my university, I just used that support to make the publication open access. So that is the one thing you need to be careful. And of course, it is hard to publish in those journals. They don't ask money, but at least try. At least try because there are lots of them out there. So you can just try and see in the process.
Okay. Surprisingly, so actually most of us, Prof, always pay for the publications. That why I never imagined that all of your paper is never have a apa APC. Oke, Bu Reski, jadi untuk menghindari predator itu pilihlah jurnal yang tidak berbayar sebenarnya. Meskipun di jurnal Scopus itu ada jurnal yang berbayar, tapi juga prosesnya itu bagus gitu ya, proses reviewnya bagus. Namun seperti pengalamannya Prof itu tuh tidak pernah semua publikasinya itu berbayar, kecuali yang di open access. Open access itu memang harus additional fee tambahan untuk membayar, tapi itu opsional. Artinya pilihan mau di open atau tidak papernya itu. Itu baru bayar. Kalau mau tidak di open itu juga tidak bayar. Jadi yang pertama rekomendasinya hindari jurnal yang minta apa namanya fee, publication fee gitu. Itu sarannya Prof. Karena ternyata banyak juga jurnal-jurnal yang tidak meminta APC gitu. Ya, kalau jurnalnya seperti itu, mostly dia bukan predator. Yang kedua, itu ketika prosesnya cepat sekali, bahkan mungkin hitungannya itu hitungan hari sudah publish. Kenapa seperti itu? Karena memang mereka itu tidak membaca, jangankan mereview ya, membaca pun tidak papernya karena si publishernya ini money oriented, jadi orientasinya ke uang yang Bapak Ibu berikan. Jadi kalau seperti itu sebenarnya itu sudah terindikasi sebagai jurnal predator. Maka yang seperti itu mohon dihindari ya Bapak Ibu, khususnya mahasiswa. Kalau butuh cepat untuk misalkan ujian sidang atau segala sebagai macam, tapi mereka meminta biaya yang tinggi, kemudian apa namanya prosesnya cepat, itu pasti terindikasi sebagai jurnal predator. Yes, Prof. Okay.
Any other questions?
The other question related to the title of their paper, so they need some of recommendation about the journal which suitable,
Okay,
but we can discuss later.
okay, okay. So I'm going back to my presentation. So let me share my presentation. So I will very quickly go through few slides before we look at some of the articles. Because the one thing is, of course, everyone wants some shortcuts. Like, how can I publish my article in a good journal? But there is no shortcut. Like, the only shortcut is the predatory journals. You pay and just submit and accept it without any reviews, without any suggestion, etc. But if you want to do a really high quality paper, can be published in high quality articles in journals, it takes time. So there is no quick recommendation or no shortcut to just publish it in a good journal. You need to take time for the preparation, development, revision, and make it a good article in order to publish in a good journal. So at first, I need to give you some information about what makes a good article. Winda, you want to
Ya,
translate before
ya,
it
ya.
is too
Uh,
much?
Ya, ya, Bapak Ibu. Jadi untuk paper kita itu supaya bisa terpublish begitu di jurnal yang tadi yang bereputasi, maka ada beberapa aspek yang perlu diperhatikan begitu supaya paper kita itu memang bisa accepted. Nah, ada 3 aspek utama yang perlu kita perhatikan selaku penulis untuk menyusun paper. Nanti secara lebih jelas Prof akan menggambarkan 3 aspek ini seperti apa. Yes, Prof.
Yes. So I listed here the most important 3 things that people pay attention for the academic writing is originality, rigor, and significance. And originality, like all of these things you have to check your articles against. Like you need to look at if my work is original, if my work has a rigor to be published in a good art journal, etc. So originality means to extent to which the study can make an important and innovative contribution to understanding knowledge in the field. So you need to show that your study, most of the time, you mention the originality in the introduction. You need to make clear that there is a research gap and your study is going to contribute to this research literature and how your study is contributing to this research literature. And there are some ways to highlight the originality of your study. So if your study is providing any new empirical findings, so what is already known in the literature about your topic and what is new that your study is going to contribute? Are you engaging in a kind of new problem or more complex problem than it is already discussed in the literature? Are you using any new methodology, any like original and analytical techniques? And how about your data? Like, are you collecting any original data and how your data is different than the previous studies? How you are using the theories, previous theories and the models in your study differently than the other previous studies. So some of this, like you need to highlight why this study is original study, why this study is making an important new contribution to this field. Because I am using new kind of data or because I am asking more different and complex questions that wasn't asked before, or I am collecting this data in a unique environment, unique context that might bring more new knowledge, or I am using different types of theories or models into my study that will make a new understanding or new contribution to the field. So either way, you need to find something that highlights your study and show the how the study makes a new contribution to the field.
Oke, Bapak Ibu, yang pertama itu originalitas gitu. Originalitas itu kalau di riset berkaitan sebenarnya ini akan dimention di introduction. Jadi di situ harus dilihatkan apa sih sebenarnya menunjukkan apa sih sebenarnya kontribusi dari riset kita ini terhadap literatur secara kajian literatur secara internasional gitu. Di sini kita juga harus bisa menunjukkan sebenarnya research gap-nya apa. Apa sih dari hasil studi kita ini yang mau dikontribusikan untuk bidang yang kita teliti gitu. Nah, ada beberapa kombinasi untuk meramu tadi berkaitan dengan research gap dan apa namanya originalitas ya. Nah, itu bisa dikaitkan dengan beberapa faktor. Misalkan apakah research kita ini lebih kompleks daripada previous research, daripada research yang sebelumnya. Apakah memang metodologi yang kita gunakan ini lebih berbeda gitu ya dengan riset yang sebelumnya. Bahkan mulai dari collecting dan engaging, jadi pengumpulan datanya. Pengumpulan datanya itu bagaimana? Apakah memang misalkan berbedanya ada yang menggunakan metode pengumpulan data langsung dan tidak langsung begitu ya, data primer dan sekunder. Kemudian di situ juga sebenarnya kita bisa menggunakan apa namanya different theories. Jadi teori yang berbeda, yang mana ini menjadi satu bentuk pengembangan baru di studi yang kita lakukan. Nah, intinya original itu kita harus memberikan kontribusi yang berbeda dari paper atau penelitian yang kita lakukan. Yeah, Prof. Okay.
Yes, the next one is rigor. Rigor is mostly about using the theory and methodology. So the originality you need to mostly focus on in the introduction. Show that how this study makes a different contribution. The rigor is mostly about the consistency between the theory, analysis, methodology, and results, and how they are really strong. Do you really use a strong methodology and that fits to your study and needs of your study? So you have an original idea, research questions, but how your methodology and theory fitting to your research questions and how that is good enough to answer that questions. So strong theoretical and methodological tools you use to achieve the objectives. So you need to show in the theory part or the methodology part, you need to show you have a strong conceptual framework. That conceptual framework provides some foundation for your research and analysis. And you have clear and logical structure of arguments, and they fit to the research questions and the models. And you try to use at least the best or close to best data available to answer your questions. And have your research methodology and the type of analysis you are doing up to the date. Is there any better analysis or more advanced analysis you can do in order to answer these questions? So all of these things show the rigor of your study. And when you answer like more questions with yes to these questions, you have higher level of rigor. The very good, strong theoretical foundation, very good and smooth arguments and writing, then very strong data and advanced methodology and analysis, then makes it higher rigor.
Okay. Bapak Ibu, jadi yang namanya rigor itu adalah kesesuaian, ketepatan, dan konsistensi penggunaan teori, metodologi, dan analisis untuk difitkan dengan pertanyaan penelitian gitu. Kalau yang di originalitas tadi di bab 1 introduction berkaitan dengan yang ada research question-nya. Nah, di rigor ini Bapak Ibu ketika menyusun kajian teori, metodologi, dan analisis itu harus bisa benar-benar konsisten menjawab rumusan penelitian tadi. Maka dari itu, di sini untuk poin ini diperlukan konseptual framework yang kuat, yang dimana ini bisa suitable dan cocok untuk research question-nya. Kemudian, memang harus didukung dengan argumen yang terstruktur karena menjawab pertanyaan penelitian tadi. Dengan demikian, kalaupun kita menjawab pertanyaan penelitian tadi, tentunya harus diupayakan menggunakan data yang bagus, gitu ya, dengan menggunakan tools analisis yang tepat dan juga up to date, artinya terbaru yang mana ini ya tadi sebenarnya harusnya ada konsistensi. Ketika rumusan penelitiannya seperti ini, maka metode dan analisisnya digunakannya itu harus bisa menjawab dan itu yang dimaksud dengan rigor. Dan sudah,
Okay,
Prof.
the last one is the significance. The significance is mostly in the different places, but you also mostly emphasize the significance in the discussion part, showing that how your findings are important for future research, important for the policy and practice. So how this study has capacity to influence the knowledge base of the field, literature, and development of policy and practice. So why this studies matter, why it is important, that's the significance. So how the project or the paper contributes to current understandings, what is the potential it may influence the policy and practice, and how it has applications beyond the research, and how it may have some implications for different disciplines or implications for the practitioners, implications for the policy makers, etc. So those are show the significance, and most of the time you need to highlight them in the discussion part. Like sometimes people just repeat the findings in the discussion without showing how this is important, how these findings are important, how they have some implications for different sectors and practitioners, and for the how they contribute to the literature. Those the things you have to emphasize in the significance in the discussion.
Oke.
But
Um,
in
ya,
terms of the originality and significance, of course, you also need to mention significance a little bit in the introduction, just a little bit to highlight it. But originality and significance is not highlighted enough by just saying this has not been studied before. So it doesn't mean that this study is important if you just highlight that this is not studied before. You have to explain why it is important to study this, rather than just saying, I'm doing this study because it hasn't been done before. So it is not a good argument to show the importance and originality of the study. Yes, you can go
itu.
ahead.
Bapak Ibu, significance ini kalau di paper itu ada di sesi discussion. Jadi di pembahasan itu sebenarnya dari hasil tadi analisis metodologi dan analisisnya ini bagaimana menginfluence dan juga memberikan pengaruh sebenarnya nanti dari hasil riset ini untuk kebijakan atau tataran praktisnya itu seperti apa. Dari hasil proyek kita ini, paper kita ini kontribusi untuk memperkuat atau memahami lebih dalam berkaitan dengan konsep yang Bapak Ibu teliti itu seperti apa gitu ya. lebih lanjut juga dari paper kita ini bisa secara berpotensi untuk memberikan informasi atau mempengaruhi bahkan pemangku kebijakan, praktisi atau mungkin pihak-pihak stakeholder yang terlibat gitu ya berkaitan dengan topik ini. Nah, artinya ini sangat penting gitu ya. Kebanyakan di sesi discussion itu penulis hanya mengcopy di finding, kemudian dipindah ke discussion. Padahal yang di discussion itu harusnya yang diuraikan adalah hal-hal yang tadi, bagaimana penemuan ini bisa mempengaruhi pemikiran para peneliti, kemudian bisa memberikan masukan terhadap pemangku kebijakan dan stakeholder seperti itu. Jadi yang seperti itulah yang ada di significance Bapak Ibu. Nah, sudah pada tahap akhir. Oke, Prof.
Okay, thank you. I think this is enough for the presentation because
Ah,
we
ya.
can go to the papers a little bit, but I think this part is very important because you don't expect that anyone, not only me, but anyone gives you a quick feedback and you can just go ahead and publish it. You need to
Iya.
understand the whole process. You need to
Iya.
understand what makes a article a strong, good article. Okay, that's the
Oke,
main
oke,
thing.
Prof.
So
We have
let's.
we have 28 minutes left.
Okay, yeah, I will go back to some of the articles to
Yeah.
just give some feedback.
Excuse me, Prof.
Yes.
Actually, we have additional paper, one paper already upload by Pak Supriyanto.
Oh yeah, I will see whatever. Like I look at most papers and most have like a similar problems. So
Oh, I see. Okay, okay, very
I'm
good.
I'm not going to give like a quick solution to each paper that makes the paper very strong suddenly, but I will go ahead and mention some of the weaknesses, and most
Okay,
have a similar weaknesses. So they need to be like, even this paper is not your paper, my feedback gives you ideas for your own paper because my
oh,
feedback are general and they relate to almost all studies. So first of
okay,
all, this multicultural education management paper, and there are good multicultural education journals in the field. You the you can just try. For example, one of them is Multicultural Education Review. This is a Tyler Francis journal, very good journal. But another one is Journal of Intercultural Studies, Intercultural Education. This Intercultural Education and Multicultural Education Review, they focus on multicultural education issues. So those two could be the like best journals this paper can be published. But at the moment it is not ready. And why not ready? I will explain give some ideas. So for example, I read the paper and the same issue applies to many other papers. There is only introduction, but no conceptual framework, no theoretical foundation, no literature review. So at least choose one of them. Like after a short and clear introduction to show the originality of this study and why this study is needed, as I explain in the originality part, how this study is going to make a contribution to the existing literature, why you are doing this study, and clear introduction. Then you always need to have either a conceptual framework, theoretical background, or literature review to give the definition of the concepts you are going to discuss, the why you did this study in this specific context, some background information, etc. It depends on the study. In some studies, you need a conceptual framework. In some studies, you need like a regular literature review, but you need something after the introduction to discuss the important concepts you have and the related literature about those concepts before going to the methodology.
Oke, Prof, let me translate ya. Pak Poli, mungkin ada di grup ini, di room chat. Jadi, Pak Poli, ini dari introduction ini kan langsung ke metodologi. Nah, alangkah lebih baiknya paper ini ditambahkan dengan sebenarnya theoretical background-nya itu apa yang mendasari riset ini. Kemudian ini juga ada konseptual gitu. Konseptual framework itu apa namanya dari riset ini juga perlu ditampilkan gitu ya. Jadi perlu ditambahkan itu. Literature review juga belum muncul. Jadi yang menjadikan kenapa melakukan tadi yang pertama significance itu belum muncul. Kok significance originality-nya itu belum muncul yang ada di sini. Jadi nanti harus ditambahkan. Oke, go ahead, Prof.
Yes, the second thing, the authors of this paper wants to publish this in international journal, right? Who is the author?
Ya, Pak Poli, the author,
Yes. So
lecturer from
yes,
ya,
the you want to publish this in international journal, but
yes.
all the citations in the introduction, I don't see any international citations. Like there are
Ah,
lots of big names in educational literature. They talk about multicultural education and they define the multicultural education. But how you are going to publish this in an international journal without mentioning those big important names who define multicultural education, who has done lots of studies on multicultural education, etc. So if you want to publish in international journal, you need to make your article look international. You benefit from the international knowledge, then you discuss how you are going to use this in your specific context. You cannot do it without international literature, only citing the Indonesian literature, etc. Then the journal will tell you that this article is not really international article.
oke. Let me translate. Pak Poli dan Bu Cindy, kalau paper ini mau dipublikasikan di jurnal internasional, ini harus look internasional dulu. Look internasional itu artinya bagaimana? Sitasi yang ada di introduction, tidak hanya di introduction ya, sitasi yang ada di paper Bapak Ibu, itu juga harus mensitasi tokoh atau artikel yang memang itu uh, terkenal atau dikenali dari internasional. Jadi tidak hanya Indonesia, Amin, Lia, seperti ini kan Indonesia sekali. Jadi memang harus ada citasi dari internasional. Jadi tokoh-tokoh di multikultural, pendidikan multikultural di level internasional itu siapa? Bapak Ibu citasi, kemudian dimasukkan di artikelnya gitu. Jadi nggak hanya Indonesia seperti ini. Oke, Prof.
And look at the reference list. First of all, reference list is very short for an article. The second thing, it doesn't really have any one international, maybe one or two, but still from the Indonesian, probably Indonesian scholars, but not really any international. I showed you two most important multicultural education journals in the field, like Multicultural Education Review and Intercultural Education, but I don't see any even one citations to these journals. So if this means you don't really read any international article, you don't really read any international journal, then why you are trying to publish in an international journal? If you don't read any international article and any international journal, and if you don't follow them, if you don't use them in your journal article, then it means you are doing something for the local knowledge. Then you can just go ahead and publish in Indonesian journal. But if you want to, and that is fine. I also have publications in Turkish journals in Turkish language. So that is fine if you want to publish in local journal with your own language. That is good. But I am assuming that you target international journals. So if you want to publish in international journals, then you need to follow those journals. You need to use articles published in those journals, and you need to cite them, and you need to understand your topic, your literature internationally, and you put your article into the international knowledge.
Iya, Prof, let me translate. Bapak Ibu, jadi ini dari paper ini daftar pustakanya itu terlalu pendek. Terlalu pendek itu artinya terlalu sedikit. Nah, kalau paper ini mau dipublish di international journal, harusnya look-nya itu internasional tadi, berarti menggunakan referensi yang cukup banyak dari scholar internasional. Namun kalau memang paper ini mau dipublish di lokal jurnal Indonesia gitu ya, ini nggak apa-apa sebenarnya menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Kemudian referensinya menggunakan dari scholar orang Indonesia. Nggak apa-apa karena di Turki pun juga ada menggunakan bahasa Turki, dipublish di jurnal lokal Turki, kemudian tidak terlalu look-nya tidak terlalu internasional gitu. Jadi kalau mau dipublish yang jurnal internasional ya nanti harus disesuaikan supaya ini memang kontribusinya tadi loh, kontribusi risetnya untuk internasional. Ya, sudah Prof. Oke.
Yes, yes. So another thing is about the methodology. That's same. The methodology needs to be a little bit more expanded and needs to provide some more information. For example, it is only mentioned that this is a qualitative study and interview technique is used, but methodology always need to include different subheadings. The design of the study. So what kind of qualitative study is this? Is it a case study? It is a phenomenology? It is a different, like what kind of grounded theory? What kind of qualitative study and why? That's the design of the study. Then participants, another subheading. Who are the participants? And how did you choose the participants? Why? Sampling. Then the analysis, data collection, the interviews, data collection, etc. Then the analysis. How did you do the analysis? What kind of, did you use the content analysis, thematic analysis? So what kind of analysis you use? So it has to be different subheadings, and each has to have some details. So, and then one more thing, of course, again, it has to have some international citations. There are lots of research books, internationally famous research methodology books for qualitative study, for example, and you need to show that you read those books, you know them, you cite them. For example, people cite Creswell for data collection, they cite some people. For coding processes analysis, they cite some international research methodology books. So you have that structure, and also you need to support those with some methodology books.
Oke, Prof. Jadi Bapak Ibu di metodologi khususnya yang ini perlu diekstend atau ditambah di tambahkan informasi gitu ya, informasi lebih. Harusnya di metode itu ada subheadingnya Bapak Ibu. Ketika kita mention misalkan ini metode kualitatif, maka what kind of kualitatif yang seperti apa yang digunakan? Misalkan studi kasus. Jadi harus dimention secara detail tidak umum begitu ya. Apa itu dimension menggunakan kualitatif studi kasus. Kemudian bagaimana cara mengumpulkan datanya untuk analisis kualitatif ini begitu. Termasuk nanti ada subheading analisis data. Jadi harus ada subheading yang di situ menggambarkan, menginformasikan secara lebih detail begitu berkaitan metodologinya. Bahkan di metodologi pun ketika misalkan tadi analisis data menggunakan siapa? Creswell. Itu kita bisa mensitasi dan menambahkan di bagian metodologinya. Jadi yang benar ketika menulis metodologi itu diuraikan secara rigid, tidak hanya secara umum kualitatif berhenti titik, tapi ada subheading-subheading yang menjelaskan secara rigid dan didukung oleh sitasi. Oke, Prof.
Okay, I am moving to another article because
Oke.
I want to spend some time on this because some of the things are common in different articles.
Uh-uh.
Like because
Alright,
those are
okay.
not just for this paper; those are generally the common things, so you can learn from it. And last
Uh-uh.
suggestion for this paper's authors, like go to these two journals, Multicultural Education Review and Intercultural Education. So two good journals related to this topic, and read at least 5 articles from each journal related to your topic. And you see how people structure their articles, how they write their methodology, how they use international literature in their articles, and how they make the discussion. And see if your paper really similar to them and what you miss and how you can improve it. It is always a good idea to read articles from good journals related to your topic and try to revise and improve it based on your learnings from that. Okay?
Oke, Prof.
Yes. Winda?
Ya, can you hear me, Prof?
Yes.
Ya, oke. Bapak Ibu, jadi kalau mau apa namanya papernya untuk Pak Poli ini mohon diperbaiki. Ya, oke.
Okay. Most of my comments are similar for this paper, for example. This has a very long introduction. It's, it's quite long. As I talked before, I want like 3 or 4 paragraphs very clearly showing the need for this study and contribution of this study and gap in the literature, etc. And then also putting the research questions at the end of the introduction. So research questions should be very clearly put at the end of the introduction. All other like definitions and the relationships, etc., should be under the literature review or conceptual framework after the introduction. So this is very long, very, very long uh, introduction and with no clear literature review.
Ya, jadi intinya dari paper ini terlalu panjang ya Bapak Ibu di apa namanya di latar belakang dan literature review-nya. Jadi memang terlalu banyak begitu paragraf yang diuraikan. Jadi seperti yang pernah Prof sampaikan di latar belakang itu cukup ada 4 paragraf kemarin yang memuat apa signifikan, kemudian apa namanya tadi hal-hal yang disampaikan berkaitan dengan kontribusinya apa. Nah, itu yang dituliskan. Ini terlalu panjang.
And the methodology is better because it has like some details, design, participants, data collection instruments, research process, analysis of data. Like like what I said before, it has some categories and better structure, but it means citations. Like the research design describes data, and so whenever you give some information about your research design and the analysis, you need to cite some methodology sources to show that you are using the correct method.
Oke, jadi ini sebenarnya dari struktur lebih bagus, sudah ada subheadingnya desain partisipasi. Namun alangkah lebih baiknya di setiap subheading tadi yang Prof sampaikan harus ada sitasinya begitu ya, merujuk kepada siapa metodologi ini diangkat dari apa ya, expert yang mana gitu. Jadi ada sitasi-sitasi di setiap subheadingnya. Yes, oke Prof.
Yes. It applies to the analysis here, and most of the time you can give a table to give more detailed information about participants, their age, distribution, the gender, etc. You can just put it on a table and give more details. And you need to support data collection instruments and analysis with more literature.
Oke, baik. Jadi tadi di bagian analisis memang harus lebih dirigidkan begitu berkaitan dengan papernya Pak Vicky ini. Jadi ya lebih detail.
Okay, and the analysis, the findings looks good. Just try to make sure that you are using a APA structure. Like, for example, I don't think you need like putting dates here. Just the participant number is enough. But we don't know which number represent who. We don't know who is this person. If you put a table in the participants and put the code for each participant, like a female, age this, and this kind of teachers, and the code is WN7. So now, if we put such an information and table in the methodology, then we know who is this person.
Oke, jadi ini sudah bagus, namun dipastikan pertama penulisannya apakah APA, yang kedua akan lebih bagus lagi kalau di tabel gitu ya. Jadi ada untuk partisipan itu ada codes, apa namanya jenis kelamin seperti itu, terus apa namanya kodenya. Jadi tidak perlu ditambahkan data angka, jadi dibuat tabel saja.
Yeah, the findings looks good in general, different themes and the direct quotations from the participants, but there is also need for a conclusion, discussion before the conclusion. So you need to discuss those findings based on the existing literature. So how your findings are similar or different from the existing literature, what kind of contribution your findings are making to the existing literature, what you suggest for the future research, and what kind of implications your findings provide for the practice or policymakers, etc., need to be discussed more under the discussion section.
Ya, Bapak Ibu, jadi ini sudah bagus, ada datanya. Namun tadi perlu ditambahkan implikasi ke depannya untuk mengambil kebijakan seperti apa. Untuk peneliti sebenarnya kontribusi dari riset ini apa begitu. Jadi hal itu yang perlu ditambahkan di dalam paper ini karena belum muncul hal-hal tersebut. Yang karena ya tadi masih terlalu short ya untuk discussion-nya. Oke.
Okay, we can move to the next one.
Mm-mm. Oh, Pak Shuno.
Shuni is not here, right? I think I can give him
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
here.
Okay, I will write him some feedback about this later, so we can move to
Oh, I see.
another
Yes.
study. So this one
Oh,
is about efficacy, and
uh,
is the author is here or not?
I think no, because it's Prof. Najla from
Okay, then
Education
I am
and Guidance.
okay. Then I'm moving to another one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about minority ethnic in Indonesia. I think the journals I show, the Multicultural Education Review or Intercultural Education, those
Mm-hmm.
might also be fits for this article. But again, the article has the same issues. Like most of the citations in the introduction are from mostly from not from the like the core international literature of multicultural education or minority education. So that's core literature has to be mentioned in the introduction. And there should be also some background section, like why this issue needs to be studied in Indonesian uh, context, what is the context, what are the minority, the issues, and there should be some context section after the introduction to give more details about this. And also the methodology is the one also issue I saw in different papers. The tables are not really suitable to the APA. So APA standards, the structures you need to look at and structure your tables, citations based on the APA to make it good for the international journals. And methodology section again needs to be under different subheadings. So it will be easier to understand what you are doing, what kind of information you are providing under methodology. So there should be the design and the data collection, participants, data analysis, and explain each of them clearly under each subheading and provide citations to the methodology sources. There are lots of good research methodology books and sources. You need to cite them to support your decision. Why you choose this sampling, why you choose this specific analysis. You need to provide support for your decisions. And
Oke oke, Prof. Ya, jadi ini di
yes,
metodologinya sama. I think ini same problem ya with previous paper ya, Prof.
yeah,
Jadi
yeah, yeah.
metodologinya tidak dijelaskan secara rigid analisisnya. Misalnya kenapa menggunakan ini teknik samplingnya apa ya random itu harus ada citasinya. Kemudian menggunakan uji reliability itu reliability yang mana menggunakan ujinya menurut hire misalnya hair. Karena kalau kuantitatif gitu, jadi ada sitasi-sitasi yang muncul di situ. Sepertinya itu yang kurang. Ya, Prof.
And in terms of results, like don't use this kind of pictures on the for the figures. Like try to create the
Oh,
figures on Excel and use the actual figure here. Don't use this kind of pictures. That looks not very professional.
ya ya, I see. Eh, jadi Bapak Ibu jangan mengambil foto seperti ini. Ini seperti tidak profesional. Artinya kita harus membuat real figure di words-nya ya. Jadi bukan picture seperti ini. Sebenarnya gampang sih menginsertkan itu. Seperti itulah intinya biar kelihatan lebih profesional.
So let's move to the last one. This is yours,
Yeah,
Windra.
this is mine.
Yeah, yeah. So I think overall this fits better to my expectations regarding the clear introduction, but you can make it a little bit like you can a little further clarify the originality of this study within the
Mm-hmm.
international literature a little bit more
Yeah.
after this
Mm-hmm.
session. Under the literature review, I think it is better to start with each key concepts. Like you have three key concepts: transformation leadership, teacher performance, and professional learning communities, right? Three key concepts.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you need to first start defining each of them separately. Like internet
Mm-hmm.
transformation leadership is one, the two, three paragraphs. Then
Mm-hmm.
teacher performance, like people define teacher performance very, very differently. So you need to make sure, show that how you are defining teacher performance in this study, why you are defining that way, how you measure, understand teacher performance, etc. Then professional learning communities, three different sessions for each of them, and at the end you can put like a current study or conceptual model. Then at the end, at the very end here,
Mm-hmm.
like, you have the teacher performance at the end, but you need to discuss teacher performance before you discuss the relationship between transformation leadership and teacher performance.
Oh,
how you
I see.
discuss
Okay.
the how you discuss the relationship before explaining what is teacher performance, how you understand teacher performance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Okay.
you
Well, note.
discuss each of them separately. Then at the end here, when you put your model here, you discuss why they are related and how transformation leadership might be related to teacher performance, and how professional learning communities might be mediating the relationship between teacher performance and transformation here. Then put your hypothesis. Okay.
Okay. Well, note, Prof.
Here you also have good structure under methodology like design, participants, instruments, but you don't have any single citation.
Yeah. Okay. I will revise.
Okay, so put little bit more information about the analysis, what kind of analysis you did, how you did it, why you selected that specific analysis, why it fits, and do you have any fit indices, for example, fit indices for the SEM? You can provide those. You put the
Mm-hmm.
reliability here, but there are also other types of fit indices. Make sure that you mention all of those fit result before you move to the hypothesis testing.
Mm.
And
Okay.
make sure you clearly mention here the not put much emphasis on the p values. You always put the p value, p value, p value, p value,
Ah.
but you need to more talk about the beta, the impact factor,
Mm.
the not impact factor, but the standard coefficients to
Mm.
show
Yeah.
the how big is the relationship. Is it like a small impact? It is
I
a
see.
moderate impact. So you need to talk, give information about the standards, the beta, and just put the p-values in the parentheses or just under the table to show which one are significant. So
Significant
you
or
don't,
not? Oh, yeah.
yeah, you don't even need the t statistics here because t statistics is also related to p-value. So you need to put the standardized coefficients and make some interpretations about the size of the impact based on the standardized coefficients, the big size, small size, and need to also clarify the direct effect, like direct relationship, and the indirect effect. You need to clarify and differentiate them.
Hmm. Okay, Prof. I
Okay,
already make notes. Okay.
okay. I
Yeah.
think this was the last one. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. But oh yeah, there is no more, yeah. Okay, maybe
yeah, I
from
think even there are more, like most of them are very similar. So most of my comments are very, very similar because most paper miss the similar things. So my last suggestion, I think the most biggest weakness, you try to write international paper and publish in international journals without really reading lots of international articles from good journals. If you read lots of articles from international good journals, you will get more good examples and you will better know how to frame your paper and which information to put, etc. That's a
okay,
general
Bapak.
last comment.
Iya. Baik, Bapak Ibu. Jadi intinya, resumnya kita itu memang harus banyak membaca, melihat eh, artikel di jurnal internasional yang kemudian ketika kita sudah melihat, mengidentifikasi, em, membaca strukturnya, bahkan melihat polanya, itu nanti bisa membantu kita untuk sebenarnya menyusun paper yang bagus juga gitu ya. Karena memang di jurnal-jurnal yang sudah publish di skup internasional yang high impact tadi itu kalau kita mempelajari secara detail kita bisa melihat polanya ini memang apakah banyak yang menggunakan metode tertentu ataukah memang dengan topik tertentu begitu ya yang sebenarnya itu perlu kita lakukan sih dari dini. Nah, kalau jurnal-jurnal yang bagus, tentunya tadi prosesnya memang agak lama, proses reviewnya, dan di situ akan ada komen yang bagus dari reviewer. Nah, kita memang harus tidak bisa terburu-buru untuk jurnal high impact yang bagus, karena mereka itu sebagian besar ternyata juga free gitu ya, kecuali untuk open access. Nah, maka semangat buat kita semua yang mau publish di jurnal Scopus ataupun Web of Science, ya beberapa tips dan trik dari Prof tadi termasuk masukan ketika menyusun paper itu bisa kita jadikan insight baru itu. Oke, is there any closing statement, Prof? Or yeah, we can get a closing.
No, I think I finished all of my feedback. So if anyone has
Okay.
any question, I can answer, or they can also always send me an email. I'm
Mm-mm.
writing my email address here. So
Mhm.
then I will also try to respond to emails.
Bapak Ibu ada yang mau bertanya? Mungkin boleh langsung bertanya di forum ini. Kebetulan Profnya ada. Atau kalau mau bertanya menggunakan email, Profnya sudah share email di room chat. Itu bisa di copy. Beliau insya Allah nanti akan menjawab begitu email dari Bapak Ibu. Ada yang mau bertanya mungkin di Zoom? Tidak ada? Baik, kalau tidak ada, mohon izin kita ada sesi dokumentasi. Boleh yang tidak berhalangan untuk on cam, bisa on cam dulu ya Bapak Ibu. So actually, Prof, there is no question, and I already informed to all the participants that can be reach your email if they have something to discuss or maybe questions later on with related this today topics. But we are really appreciate for your today guest lecture. It's really give an insight for us, actually for me. Yeah, and today Alhamdulillah, we are coming into the end of this session. So the last session is taking picture together. So maybe I would like to count from one up to three, and then I can take a screenshot. everyone.
Okay,
So
sure.
let me start from one. For all of participants, can open the camera if possible. Okay. Yeah. Let me start. One, two, three. Okay. So on the second page, one, two, three. Okay. Yeah, terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Thank you for all the participant and especially thank you for our guest lecturer, Prof. Humus. I think tomorrow we have the last agenda, yeah, with Bu Sally as a moderator. So thank you for today. See you for tomorrow. Uh, Thank you everyone.
Thank
See you
you.
for tomorrow also. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
yeah.
Thank you.